Spirit Forge PreRift start in just a couple days. If you're excited as I am, you're going to want to know everything there is to know before you walk into that game store. From what's in the box, what's in the pre-cons, the rule changes since Origins, and if you've never done a sealed event, and you've only done the constructed event, or if you've never done any of it, you're going to want to know what to expect. So let's go ahead and start going over some of these items. Let's start with the pre-Rift box that you get just for entering the event. It'll come with a 15 card mini precon that includes a legend that the precon deck is centered around, which is really cool. You also receive 5 booster packs. They're all Spirit Forged. There's no Origin cards anywhere here. It's all Spirit Forged. Additionally, you will get a full playset of runes, and there's rumors about promos of different legends sneaking around some of these boxes too. So definitely be on a lookout for some of these promos. Let's start talking about those legends, starting with Renata. Now Renata, as you can see from her battlefield, is going to want to try to ramp and squeak in those extra points for the win. Well, she can do that by utilizing her gold tokens. Her gold tokens, she has numerous ways to generate them. She also has a lot of ways to generate unit tokens. This is great because her chosen champ will allow all of those tokens, gold and unit, to come in ready. So get that chosen champion out quick. Keep it in base, try to keep it as safe as possible, and keep generating those units. This is a machine. Just generate those units, generate that gold, all the tokens that you can, and keep pushing forward. This is something that will give you constant pressure. Pressure your opponent, pressure him, pressure him, pressure him, and that is going to win you the game with Renata. Renata is a menace. She is a great, great pull. Now, next up is Lucian. While looking at Lucian, you definitely notice that his battlefield starts generating some card draw through mighty units. So at first glance, you might be looking for those mighty units. There's only one in the deck. So how does he utilize this battlefield? It's through all the equipment. The equipment really easily transitions those low might units into mighty units very quickly. And given his ability that gives all of his equipped units assault, you're going to be conquering that battlefield with mighty units all the time. It's going to be a very, very good source of card draw for you. Next up that we're going to talk about is Rek'Sai. His battlefield, you want to be able to conquer both in the same turn, or hold one and then conquer the other one to really utilize that card draw. If you can't get that off, then his battlefield is not really that useful. And when you're looking at Rek'Sai's deck, you're really noticing that there's a little bit of everything. There's some assault, there's some accelerate, there's some unit generation, there's some straight kill from yellow, and there's looking at the top cards of your deck or revealing them and trying to play from there, which is what Rek'Sai is really good at. So you have a little bit of splashes of red and splashes of yellow. This, I would say, is more generic red-yellow deck. So try not to burn out too quick, because we know that red-yellow has a history of doing that. There's a little bit, I think, in there that will help with that. But next up on the list is Irelia. Irelia's battlefield synergizes really well with her ability. Being able to go up, conquer, pay 1 energy, and get a gold token to be able to use her ability more effectively later in the game is absolutely amazing. Definitely a really good battlefield for this precon. Additionally, don't forget that your equipment with her, when you equip it to a creature, it does count as choosing. So don't forget about those triggers when playing her. Otherwise, you're only going to have 1 trigger in the entire deck outside of your pools. So make sure that you remember the equipment. Additionally, with that, the Weapon Master will not work with choosing the equipment. That is the exception to that rule. So just keep those in mind when you're playing Irelia. Equip often, so that way you can get pseudo acceleration. And I think Irelia is going to be really good at that. Next up on the list, we're talking about Jax. So Jax's battlefield also synergizes with his ability very well. Being able to get those equipments out quickly and for less energy cost is essential to his strategy. He's going to want to layer equipments down with cheap units to be able to equip those equipments quickly and get them as mighty as possible. We already know that green and orange combo loves their mighty units, and this is a great way to do that, especially in a pre-rift like this. It is going to be great synergy, and yes, I know you're looking at that door and shield right there. If you have control of that battlefield, which you should, being Jax, door and shield will be free, and you'll be able to tap Jax for one energy and equip it instead of paying that power cost. So great synergies all around here. Get those mighty units, get them to a battlefield, and just maintain control of that battlefield. That's what orange and green does really well. I think Jax fits into that. And now we're on to Ezreal. Looking at Ezreal, depending on how you want to build out the rest of his deck, really determines if you're going to use this battlefield as is, or if you're going to use a blank battlefield instead. Or you just replace it by another pool. All of those are okay. Ezreal's deck has a lot of synergies though. So you have a lot of the spells to choose your opponent's units, which really synergizes with his ability very nicely, obviously. You have a lot of really nice units, especially I know the blue Ezreal gets hated on quite a bit, but I like the boomerang, so I'm kind of hoping that I pull Ezreal and I get to try him out a little bit. Overall, I think that Ezreal is just a solid blue-purple legend and a blue-purple deck in this pre-rift event, and I'm really excited to try him out. So those were the 6 mini precons that you can find in your pre-rift box. Now we're going to move into the rules and the event itself. And if you've made it this far in the video and you want to help support the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So in this section, we're going to be covering the 5 different topics that have their own unique rule sets for sealed events and even more unique rule sets for pre-rift events. There'll be legends, domains, decks, battlefields, and finally gameplay. Let's go ahead and start with legends. Choosing a legend for this event is going to be so fun. You're not limited to the legend in the pre-con box that you pull or the packs that you pull. You can choose any of those legends that you want, or you can go legendless. Same goes for your chosen champion. If you want to run a different named champion, you absolutely can, as long as it fits the colors of your deck. And it's a champion unit, not just straight unit. It's important to note that if you choose to run without either your legend or a chosen champion, you start the game with 5 cards in your hand, not 4. So that is very important. Additionally, the same goes for signature spells. You can run a different signature spell than the legend that you have, as long as it fits the domains of your deck. Now that brings us to domains. Now the domains for this event is going to be really interesting because you can have up to 3 different domains in your deck. Now these domains are determined by the 2 domains of your legend plus 1 additional domain. Or if you're not running a legend, you can just pick 3 domains yourself. And that's how you determine the domains. I would really recommend bringing your own runes. I know that the pre-con boxes should come with some runes. 1, just in case they don't. And 2, so that way you can play whatever you want to play and you're not limited to those runes. And in case your card shop might or might not have runes, just be a good practice to bring your own. Which that brings us to the deck building. There's a couple key things to keep in mind when deck building. Your minimum is 25 cards, but you have no maximum. So you can fill it out as much as you want, as long as you hit that 25 minimum mark. Now, if you have multiple copies of the same card, you can put them all in there, even if you have 10 copies of it. You're not restricted to just 3 copies of the same card in this format like you are in other formats. Now that does bring me to the only cards that you're allowed to use are the cards that you've opened in your pre-rift box. So any outside card in any way, you can't use. You can't bring cards from home. Obviously, you can bring cards from rooms. Your runes from home, we already went over that previously. That is perfectly okay. But as far as cards in your main deck and your sideboard, the cards that you open, that's it. Now for your sideboard, every card you open that is not in your main deck counts as your sideboard. So if you want to change out your domain, you want to change out your legend, your champion, whatever you want to change out, you're able to. If you want to go from playing 1 legend 1 game to going to play 0 legends and not even use those 2 domains in your second game, absolutely go for it. Now with all that being said, that does bring us to battlefields. So most game stores are going to be running best of 3 rounds, just like normal. So you're going to need 3 battlefields, just like normal. Now, if you don't pull 3 battlefields, or you don't want to use the 3 battlefields that you do have, that's okay. You can just flip a card upside down and use that as a blank battlefield. Blank battlefields will have no abilities, no effects, none of that. It's just something you can conquer. It acts just like any other battlefield. Now that brings us to gameplay. So game stores have some leeway when it comes to this section. In general, you're going to find yourself having about 30 to 45 minutes to open up your product and build your deck. If you're somebody that likes to trade, we don't have any official rules on the trade policy in sealed events. So this is going to be game store by game store dependent. So in past card games, I've experienced trading before anything is open at all, trading pack for pack, or card for card. More times than not, it's no trading with sealed events whatsoever. So that being said, make sure that you start this conversation and these questions with your game store as early as possible when you get there, preferably before product even gets passed out. So that way everybody is on the same page, everyone feels good about moving forward with the event, and everyone's understanding the rules. Now, when you get to rounds, I really don't anticipate having more rounds than your standard Nexus nights. What I do anticipate happening is a lot of new faces in this event. One thing that has been consistent through all my experiences in card games is pre-releases bring in a lot of new faces. These new faces are great. It really builds the community up. The more people that come to these events at your game store, the more product your game store will get. It's just a really, really great thing. And just remember, this is the lowest OPL there is. So make sure that you're having fun, you're having a great time. And until next time, have fun in PreRift Weekend Rangers.
How elusive can they be? To the future we can see. One day Brown will join them.